ACI Virtual Edge step-by-step install. We have just finished installing the AVE. Now we are going to build a tenant and we are going to connect VMs to EPGs. Then we will do ping test and we will do vMotion test. We are going to build some of these EPG bindings with VXLAN and some with VLAN to demonstrate that they both work. Also, there is another section that has been added at the very end that we will do after this module, and that is microsegmentation with AVE. We are going to do that for VXLAN based EPG and for VLAN based EPG. It's always good to look at a diagram to see what we are going to build. So we are going to build a tenant called SMAVE demo, and then we are going to build a VRF in it and a BD in it, and the BD gateway address is going to be 10.10.10.1/24. We are going to bring up 3 EPGs over there in an application profile, and the EPGs are going to be web, app, and DB. Web and app will be VXLAN based and DB will be VLAN based. Once we do the bindings, the port groups will be pushed down into the DVS with AVE switch. If you look at the DVS with AVE switch, it has a bunch of port groups. On the very right hand side, you see the AVE with the outside and the inside port group. Those are promiscuous port groups. The outside connects to the top of rack switch, and the inside is the promiscuous port for the private VLANs. The CentOS 1, CentOS 2, and CentOS 3 are going to be binded to those port groups as shown in the picture. There's going to be contracts, as you see, between the EPGs, and we are going to do an any contract between web and app, and an any contract between app and DB. Once we are done with the bindings from the EPG level, then we should be able to ping from CentOS 1 to CentOS 2 and from CentOS 2 to CentOS 3. Once we show that, we'll move on to the next module, which will be vMotion. Okay, we are logged into the UI of the APIC. Let's go to Tenants. And we are going to create a new tenant, and we'll call this SM-AVE underscore demo. We'll make a VRF and we'll call this VRF AVE underscore demo and submit. So now we are on that tenant. If I go to networking, the VRF should be there, and the VRF is a normal VRF where, if you notice, preferred group member is disabled. Let's go ahead and build a bridge domain, and on the bridge domain I'll say create bridge domain, and I'll call this BD-10, and the VRF will be AVE demo, and forwarding is optimized, everything else is the default. So I say next, and these are the best practices, so we'll keep them. We are going to go ahead and add the default gateway, which is going to be 10.10.10.1/24, and I'm just going to keep it private to the VRF, and I'll say OK, and I'll say next, finish. That's okay. Now let's go quickly build a couple of contracts that we are going to be using here. So the first contract is going to be let's build a filter first. So we'll make a filter called any, and the entries in it will be any, and unspecified is good, so I'm going to allow everything. and then we are going to go and make two contracts over here for now. So we'll say any dash C1 and scope is VRF. So I'll say subject is going to be any, and we'll add the filter, and the filter is going to be any, and I'll just say update. So that's the first any contract that we built. Let's build a second any contract, and we'll call this any C2. Scope is again VRF, and the subject is going to be any, and the filter is going to be any, and update. So I just built two contracts, any C1 and any C2. Let's go and make an app profile. I'm going to right click here and say create app profile, and let's call it sm-app. And now let's go ahead and create some EPGs over here, and the first EPG is going to be web, and the BD is going to be BD10. I'm just going to say update, and then I'm going to add more, and I'm going to make app, and I'm going to put the same BD update, and then I'm going to add one more, and I'm going to say DB, and I'm going to say BD10, and I'm going to say update, and I'm going to say submit. So now I have my three EPGs over there, and now on those three EPGs, let's just go take a quick look. And if I go look at policy and policy general, you're going to see that the BD is tied in, so everything looks good. Now let's go ahead and do the VMM bindings. So we'll come to the web EPG, say add VMM binding. We are going to choose our FXAVE, and then we are going to choose AVE, will do immediate deploy, and notice that over here there is no VLAN because we chose AVE, so this is going to be VXLAN, so I'll say submit. Then the next one is going to be app, and app is also going to be VXLAN, so app BD is over here. Let's go and do add VMM domain, and then we do FXAVE and immediate, and we are going to do VXLAN again, submit. All right, the next thing we'll do is the DB. So on the DB, we are going to again add the VMM domain. We are going to use the SMFXAVE immediate, and this time we are going to do native, so it's VLAN mode, and we'll say submit. And the VLAN should automatically go in from the dynamic VLAN pool that we had selected. Now if you look at vCenter, if you go to networking tab, you're going to see that these port groups have indeed been pushed down to the hypervisors. Now this is the app port group that came from the app EPG, and if you notice, it's a PVLAN, and it's 234 and 235, the primary and the secondary VLAN. Remember, our range had 200 to 299 for the private VLANs. The app will be similar, and the DB is where we basically did VLAN mode binding, so we did a bypass on the AVE. So that's a regular VLAN 167 over there. And remember that our dynamic VLANs, which were for bypass, was from 100 to 199. So all that matches up. Now let's go back to host and clusters, And in host and clusters, let's go to the three VMs that are already powered on. They are very tiny CentOS VMs. So on this one, this is CentOS 1. So CentOS 1 should go to web. So let's do edit settings, and let's put him on web. And this is going to be on over here. There are too many port groups, so let's just do a filter on the tenant name. So sm-ave, and let's see. So there you go, smave, and that would be web. Right there, web. I think I got it. So say OK, and I'll say OK. Then on the next one, this is going to be on the app group. So let's go ahead and do edit settings right there. And let's again go ahead and do a quick filter. So sm-ave, and that's going to be the second one. So web, and then app. So this is app, and let's say OK. All right. And the third one, this was the VLAN based one. So that's going to be over here. And I'll say edit settings. And I'll go ahead and put him on the DB. So sm-ave and DB. So there's DB, and I'll say OK. All right, so that should do it. All right, then one more thing that we need to do is we need to go back to the APIC, and we need to put the contracts on. We defined the contract, but we haven't applied them. So let's say that I'm going to do on web to app, there should be a contract. So I'll say add provided contract on app, and I'll do NEC1, and I'll just say submit. And then on DB, I'm going to do web to app. So I need to go to web, and on web, I'll do a add consumed contract, and I'll do NEC1. So web to app contract is now there, and since this is any contract, it should work bidirectionally because the protocol is unspecified. So now web to app is there, and now I need to do one from app to DB. So let's go to DB, and let's do a contract over here, and we'll say that this over here is add consumed contract, and we'll say this one submit, and then on app, contract, oh, that's actually wrong. I need to do the other contract, C2. Yes, so app, let's do consume contract, and let's do C2 and say submit, and then this is app to DB. So let's go to app, and over here, just to check, I forgot what I did. I did a consume contract, so I have to do a provided contract over here. So I'll do add provided contract, and this is going to be for C2, submit. So app has a provided contract for C1 and C2, and then DB has a contract for consumed contract for C2, and web has a consumed contract for C1. And of course, if you quickly wanted to go and see this, you could go to the app profile and go to topology and then sort of drag it out so it's clearer. And you can see that between web and app there is the C1 contract, and between app and DB there is the C2 contract. All right, so now let's go back to vCenter, and in vCenter let's go to host and clusters, and in host and clusters, sorry, wrong vCenter over here. Okay, I'm back to the correct vCenter. So let's go ahead and open a console over here, and I've opened the console to CentOS 1, and let me do a IPA, and you can see that the IP address is 10.10.10.10. So let's ping 10.10.10.1. It can ping its default gateway, and then let's ping, we are sitting on the web port group, so ping 10.10.10.20, which is app, and the contract should allow that, and it works. And now let's ping 10.10.10.30, and of course that's not going to work. Now let's go and open a console on CentOS 2. And I can do an IPA, and you see it's 10.10.10.20, so ping 10.10.10.30, and that should work because there is a contract between app and DB. Now let's go back to the APIC, and let's make sure that we can see the endpoints. And you can do this from command line too, but we'll just do it from here. So let's go to the app EPG, and let's go to operational, and you can see that CentOS 2 is there. On DB, I am expecting to see CentOS 3, and on web, I'm expecting to see CentOS 1. So all that matches up. Okay, so now, just to recap, we have web and app which are using VXLAN, and then DB is using VLAN. So if you look over here, I'm sitting on the app. So on app, you can see, if I do operational, you can see that this is VXLAN based. And if I move this more, you can see that there's the VXLAN ID, and it's primary and secondary, of course, because it's still PVLAN. And then on DB, if I look at DB on operational, we'll see that it's VLAN 167. All right, now let's move on to the vMotion part of it to make sure that we can actually make vMotion work. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to create a vMotion VLAN, and we have to put VM kernels on both the hypervisors, so for vMotion, that is. So let's go to the tenant, common tenant. Generally, this kind of thing you want to build in common tenant because this is a common function, the vMotion. So let's actually just build a VRF over here. We don't want to use someone else's VRF, so we'll call it SM FX vMotion, or just call it SM vMotion. And we are going to just take the defaults over there. Next, and BD is SM vMotion, and that should be good. We'll just take the defaults, finish. All right, now let's go and do an app profile real quickly, and we'll call this SM vMotion, and we'll add one EPG over here, and we'll call this EPG vMotion, and we'll select our SM vMotion, and we'll say update, and we say submit. Let's go back to the BD, and on the BD, let's go and do policy L3 configuration. Unicast routing is turned on. Let's give him a vMotion IP address. So it's going to be 192.168.1.1/24, and we'll just take the defaults for all that. So submit, and we have a IP address over there. Now we are back to the vCenter, and let's go to host and clusters, and on host and clusters, let's go to click on the host, and let's go to configure and virtual switches, and let's make this a little bit bigger. We are looking at this virtual switch, and let's make sure that we can see all of them. And basically we have over here the port groups. However, I forgot, I'm not seeing the port group that I just created, the EPG, because I didn't bind it. So let's go back and do that. So now we are back on vCenter. Let's go to domain, and on domain, let's do add VMM domain, and we are going to go ahead and add the FX AVE, and for this particular one, I'll do native, and let's go ahead, let's make sure it's native, and immediate. You always want to do immediate for these kind of things. And over here, VLAN is static. We always want to do a static VLAN for this kind of situation, for your VM kernel or for vCenter. And if you remember, our static port ranges were 50 to 55, so we'll choose 50 over here. And oh, it has to be VLAN-50, and we'll say submit. Now we are back at the vSwitch, at the switches, and we are back on SMFX AVE, and we need to turn on this so we can see everything. And if you look at the very top, this is the one that this is the port group that we just pushed down. So we'll click on that, and we are going to edit that, and we are just going to make a VM kernel over there, and that's good. So next, and it's going to be used for vMotion, so we'll say next, and let's do static addressing over here, and we'll do 192.168.1. This is 25 for the 25 host, and we'll say override default gateway, and this is going to be 192.168.1.1, which is the BD default gateway that we had configured. Next, subnet mask I forgot, so 255.255.255.0, and then say next, and finish. Let's go ahead and do the same thing on 26. So 26, we go to our DVS, we enable this guy, and it should be the one on the very top. Let's click on him. Let's say add VM kernel, next, and we'll do that, and we'll say next, and then we are going to use vMotion, and then we'll say next, and static, and over here 192.168.1.26, and subnet mask is 255.255.255.0, override default gateway, and this is going to be 192.168.1.1, and we'll say next, and we'll say finish. Now let's go back to APIC just to make sure that those addresses are showing up on endpoints. We are on the vMotion EPG in common tenant. Let's go operational, and you can see over here that both of those are showing up. 25 and 26 are showing up over there. So good, we have our vMotion VM kernel set up properly. Now let's go back to vCenter, and let's go to the first VM over there, and let's try to migrate him over to do a vMotion. So by the way, these are all on shared storage on iSCSI drives, so they have common storage. I'm just going to do a vMotion for the CPU. So migrate, and I'm going to change compute resource only, next, and I am going to move him to this guy here, and compatibility check succeeded, next, and that's it, I guess, next, next, finish, and it's moving it, if you notice over here, and it's done. So I just moved a VM that was based out of a port group using VXLAN, and I vMotioned it, and that was CentOS 1. So let's see CentOS 1, and it's timed out on me. So let's go back, and let's open the console again on CentOS 1. There it is. Oh, sorry. Looking, oh yeah, okay, I moved it to the other host, so it should be on the bottom. So let's see. There it is. All right. Let's open the console for it, and not that guy. Where did it go? Yeah, right there. So right click, open console, and there you go. So my ping to 10.10.10.30 should still not work because this is the web EPG, and I'm trying to ping DB, which is not allowed by contract. So let's ping .20, and it's pinging. So I just vMotioned and I pinged again, and it's working. Now let's go ahead and vMotion the VM, which is based on VXLAN, which is CentOS, which is based on VLAN. We did already the VXLAN one. So now let's go ahead and do migrate on him, and we'll do CPU only. We say next, and we're going to move him to the other host over there, and we say next, and next, and next, and finish. And you can see on the bottom that he's moving, and he's done. So let's go, and this is timed out probably. Oh, this is 3. Oh, that's 2. Okay, I can ping from 2 to that guy, So 2 is app, and app to DB I should be able to ping, which is this guy, and there you go, app to DB. I can ping. So I just vMotioned again on a VLAN based EPG that was on the AVS DVS, and it worked. So vMotion works fine. So this concludes the section of vMotion and ping. So all our tests are done. So we finished section 2, and next we are going to go to the next section, which is microsegmentation with AVE for both VXLAN based EPG and VLAN based EPG. Please move on to the next module for this training.